Castles. A type of fortified structure, built during the Middle Ages, predominantly by the nobility or royalty and by military orders. They are mostly made of stone, and come in all shapes and sizes, though most were massive. These great structures were used as residences, military forts, and a center for local government, to name a few. With some of these castles spanning back to the Middle Ages, it shouldn't surprise you that most are haunted. Join us, as we look at some of the most haunted castles in the world and why. For our first haunted castle. Burg Eltz, Germany. Burg Eltz dates back to 1157, and the list of myths surrounding the castle is nearly as long. Of the few rooms in the castle open to tourists, and supposedly one of the most haunted, is the bedroom of the Countess Agnes. Her bed, breastplate, and battle axe remain in the room, and legend has it that she died defending the castle from an undesirable suitor. One night, knights under the command of Braunsberg, the undesirable suitor, stormed the castle, killing the guardsmen. Agnes would not sit by and watch her home being attacked, so she donned her brother's armor and went out to fight. She came face to face with Braunsberg and started attacking him. Not knowing it was Agnes under the armor, he fought back, striking her in the chest, whereby she collapsed and died. He lifted the visor on her helmet, realized what he had done, and fled the castle, never to be seen again. Castle staff say Agnes haunts the hallways, turning lights on and off and opening locked doors in the middle of the night. There are also claims of a phantom knight on horseback that is seen at the castle gate, and some say it may be the Braunsberg returning to the castle seeking forgiveness from Agnes. Next up. Castle Fraser, Scotland. Built between 1575 and 1636 in East Scotland, Castle Fraser is famous for its elaborate architecture, beautiful farmland, and gardens, and a somewhat horrifying myth. According to legend, a young princess once staying at the castle was brutally murdered in her sleep. Her body was dragged down the stone stairs, leaving a trail of blood behind. As hard as they tried, the occupants could not scrub the blood stains from the stairs, so they decided to cover the staircase in wood paneling, which remains to this day. Some say the ghost of the princess still roams the halls of the castle at night. For our next haunted castle. Moosham Castle, Austria. During the Salzburg witch trials between 1675 and 1690, Moosham played host to many of the executions, imprisonments, and torturing of hundreds of men and women accused of being witches. Later, in the 1800s, there were many deer and cattle within the castle's proximity found dead. So many, that local residents were tried, and killed, for being werewolves. Today, staff and visitors have reported sightings of many spirits and ghosts, banging sounds, footprints, seeing white mists, and feeling someone breathe on them, as well as a feeling of sadness while visiting. Next up. Château de Tressessin, France. This medieval castle, built in the 14th and 15th centuries in the Brittany region of France, is tied up with one of French mythology's most legendary groups of women, the Dames Blanches. These white ladies are spirits or supernatural beings that are rumored to float through the regions of Lorraine, Normandy, and the Pyrenees Mountains. In the case of Château de Tressessin, they're said to drift through the corridors at night and glide on surrounding bodies of water, clothed in muddy, ruined white dresses and flower crowns. One particularly cursed dame was said to be buried alive by her own brothers on her wedding day in 1750 because she accepted what they considered a dishonorable marriage. Though Château de Tressessin is currently under private ownership and inaccessible to the public, there have been alleged sightings of groups of ghosts playing cards, as well as a headless monk roaming the surrounding lands. Up next. Leap Castle, Ireland. Built somewhere between the 13th and late 15th century, this Irish castle is often said to have seen more gruesome deaths than most. It's said that during a struggle for power within the O'Carroll clan, one brother plunged a sword into another, who was a priest, as he was holding mass in the castle's chapel. The room is now called the Bloody Chapel, and the priest is said to haunt the church at night. Another horrifying discovery happened during castle renovations in the early 1900s, where workmen found a secret dungeon in the Bloody Chapel with so many human skeletons that they filled 3 cartloads before being hauled away. The dungeon was designed so that prisoners would fall through a trapdoor, have their lungs punctured by wooded spikes on the ground, and die a slow, horrific death within earshot of the sinister clan members above. For our final haunted castle, Chillingham Castle, England. Regarded as Britain's most haunted castle, the aptly named Chillingham Castle has a horrific history of prisoner-ridden dungeons and well-used torture chambers. A couple of its ghosts include the whimpering Blue Boy, a childish wraith seen in the castle's Pink Room, whose heart-rendered cries of either fear or pain echo through the corridors. In the past, cries always seemed to emanate from a spot near where a passage is cut through the 10-foot thick wall into the adjoining tower. Later, the bones of a child, surrounded by decaying fragments of blue cloth, were found behind the wall. Another unquiet soul to stalk the castle is the spirit of Lady Berkeley, wife of Lord Grey, whose husband ran off with her sister, Lady Henrietta. Lady Berkeley was abandoned at the castle, with only her baby daughter for company. Guests report hearing the rustle of her dress, as well as her voice throughout the corridors, searching for her husband. So, what did you think of our selection of haunted castles? Has anyone visited any of these? Drop a comment and let me know. Thank you for watching.